Words cannot describe just how I feel.
Emotions run over at Lexington High School today. Coaches, teachers, and students come together to remember one of their own taken down by violence.
The teen's family releases a statement thanking the community for support. And you may be surprised by what they said about the 3 men charged in the case.
Arraignments were held this afternoon for the 3 men charged in connection to the shooting at Cookout over the weekend that killed a sophomore student athlete from Lafayette.
This is WKYT News at 5.
Good evening to you. It is such a sad story. We continue to track details into the tragic shooting death of a Lexington teenager. 15-year-old Trinity Gay, the daughter of Olympian Tyson Gay, died yesterday.
Now, police say she was caught in the crossfire of a shootout in the parking lot of the Cookout restaurant on South Broadway. 3 men, including a father and son, face charges in connection to the shooting. All 3 went to court this afternoon. WKYT's Hillary Thornton has new information now about the suspect and a statement from the girl's family. She begins our top story team coverage at 5.
Lexington police arresting the 3 men in the hours following the death of 15-year-old Trinity Gay, each of them, according to their arrest citations, admitting to firing shots in that parking lot. Then today, each of them entering not guilty pleas. 19-year-old DeMarquio Taylor, the first arraigned today, his attorney entering a not guilty plea. His father, 39-year-old Chazare Taylor, and 21-year-old Devontae Middlebrooks, not represented, both asking for a public defender. Judge entering not guilty pleas on their behalf. All 3 of the men are facing wanton endangerment charges in connection to the shooting. Last night, we talked to friends of Trinity Gay, the standout student athlete who was killed in that shooting. Some of those friends were in that parking lot during the shooting. Taylor Middleton says she was right next to Gay when she was hit.
That's when we heard more gunshots, and that's when I was like, okay, I see her, so let me go and try to get by her so I don't be alone. So that's when I tried to crawl towards her. And as I'm crawling towards her, she's crawling towards me. And she's like, I'm shot, I'm shot.
We spoke to family of Trinity Gay today. They say they appreciate the outpouring of support. They say the 15-year-old touched so many people on so many different levels. And they are asking for continued prayers and privacy during this difficult time. The family is also asking for prayers for the 3 men accused and their families. They will be in court for a preliminary hearing October 25th. And all 3 of the men denied our request for an interview from jail. In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Hillary, thank you. And Lexington police say they are not looking for any more suspects in the case, but the investigation is ongoing as they evaluate forensic evidence.
Trinity Gay was a sophomore at Lafayette, her dad's alma mater, and just like her father, she was a rising track star. Today, her coach, alongside her principal and a teacher, talked about the tremendous loss to the school. Monique Blair is live at Lafayette, where students will hold a vigil later tonight to remember their classmate. Monique?
Amber, the school day began here at Lafayette High School with a moment of silence in honor and in remembrance of 15-year-old sophomore Trinity Gay. Trinity's high school track coach, one of her teachers, and her principal all spoke publicly today. They describe her as a leader, humble, the light of her mother's world, and the type of person who was destined to change the world. They say when she was in the classroom, she would always befriend the student who felt left out. And then on the track field, she would push her teammates to be the best they could be.
She would push everybody just to try harder, even when she felt like giving up.
She had goals in life. She wanted to be a surgeon. She wanted to give back to our community. And I think there's something to celebrate in that. We are proud of the legacy that she left, and we are just heartbroken that she's not in our building anymore.
Now you can see a memorial has been set up here outside the football field. It's made up of several pairs of track shoes, balloons, and even a couple of jerseys. Now the vigil tonight for Trinity will begin at 8 o'clock. It will take place on the track. The principal of the school tells us it will serve as a time for Trinity's loved ones to grieve and reflect on her life in a safe and structured environment. Reporting live in Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
We know a lot of people will be there. Monique, thank you. Principal Jacob says police, the mayor's office, and other community leaders have reached out to help provide support to the school. You can find more details about tonight's vigil and the very latest on that investigation on WKYT.com.
Lexington police haven't released new details today about another weekend shooting death. Police say the man died at UK Hospital after being shot in the Chase parking garage on Main Street early Sunday morning. The coroner identified the victim as 27-year-old James Augustus Blair. Police say someone dropped Blair off at a hospital after the shooting. Investigators have identified a person of interest in the shooting, but so far no charges have been filed. Another robbery this afternoon in Lexington involving a man in a clown mask. The Mr. Money on Winchester Road was hit just after 1 o'clock. Police are trying to determine if it's connected to 4 similar robberies or if it's a copycat. Since Sunday morning, 4 gas stations have been robbed by a man wearing a clown mask. Police say the suspect showed a gun in each of the gas station robberies.
We now know the name of a man killed in a crash in Nicholasville. Our county-by-county coverage at 5 begins in Jessamine County. The coroner says 29-year-old Cameron Pittman died in last night's crash at US 27 and Elizabeth Street. Pittman's car hit a semi that was turning into a nearby gas station. The crash caused a major fuel leak that had the intersection closed for hours. In Madison County, the city of Richmond has a new police chief. Chief James Ebert was sworn in during a ceremony this morning at City Hall. Ebert says he will tackle recruiting officers and retaining them. The Richmond Police Department has been dealing with an officer shortage for about a year. Ebert is now in Richmond, is new to Richmond Police. He was previously a Frankfort police lieutenant.
Well, another warm October day. Temperatures are more than 15 degrees above normal. And it may be another couple of days before we return to fall-like weather or worse. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is in the First Alert Weather Center now to tell us all about it.
Yeah, I don't think too many folks are complaining out there this afternoon, Barbara. Upper 70s, low 80s right now. Most of central and eastern Kentucky. Gusty southwesterly wind doing the dirty work, boosting those thermometers up across all of central and eastern Kentucky. And you can see those gusty winds showing up just in our sky cam. Look at the WKYT weather garden bouncing around out there. Southerly winds 16, gusts close to 25, 82 right now in Lexington. Defender Radar Network, nothing going on across Kentucky. But again, we are sandwiched in between high pressure to the east, low pressure to the west. Eventually, that big cold front across the plain states will sweep in here, and that promises big changes toward the end of the week. I've got the best rain chance since August and the coldest air of the young fall season in just a few minutes.
More news now. Donald Trump says he expects to win next month's presidential election, but if he loses, he says it won't be his fault.
And Hillary Clinton is battling claims her State Department tried to help out the FBI in exchange for reclassifying an email about Benghazi. Greg Boswell is at the White House with a campaign 2016 update.
Hillary is running for president in what looks like to many people a totally rigged election.
Donald Trump has spent the past couple of days slamming America's electoral process. Monday, he tweeted, large-scale voter fraud happening on and before Election Day. Why do Republican leaders deny what is going on? So naive.
Can an election be rigged?
No. No, an election cannot be rigged. The system is designed against rigging.
Chris Ashby is a Republican election lawyer. He says Trump's claims are dangerous because they undermine trust in the system.
People are going to realize this was a free and a fair and open and honest election, notwithstanding what Donald Trump might say. And I think it's actually going to give people great faith and confidence in the outcome.
A new poll shows nearly half of Trump supporters don't believe their vote will be counted. Those numbers drop for Democrats.
It's a guy who's whining because he's a big bully who's getting beaten, and now he's starting to whine.
Hillary Clinton has her own trust issues with voters who question her use of a private email server while she was Secretary of State. Republican congressional leaders say FBI documents show a State Department Undersecretary, Patrick Kennedy, contacted an FBI official in 2015 to dispute the classification of a Clinton email about Benghazi, which was reclassified to secret. The Bureau official then asked Kennedy about a request for more FBI slots overseas at U.S. missions. The FBI says the classification was not changed and denied Republican claims this was evidence of quid pro quo. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
A Clinton campaign aide says they had no knowledge of the exchange between the FBI and Undersecretary Patrick Kennedy. The aide did say that it's well known the campaign had strong disagreements about the FBI reclassifying certain emails after the fact.
Well, after a weekend off, the Cats return to action this week. UK takes on Mississippi State Saturday at Commonwealth Stadium in a crucial game if they want to be bowl eligible. WKYT's Rob Bromley joins us now with our Big Blue coverage at 5.
Well, the Wildcats have won 3 of their last 4, and after that bye week, they get back in action on their home field this weekend against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. After dropping their first 2, the Cats have played better. They've pulled it together. They can still make a bowl game with 3 more wins. Now today, Mark Stoops stopped short of saying this is the toughest team he's had, but he's proud of the way his players have come back.
The way we responded, let's just put it this way, I don't know if I want to put that label on it, but I'm proud of the way this team has responded. And you know what, they're a fun group to coach. They really have been. They've been fun to coach. You know, there's been a lot of frustrating pieces that we don't need to rehash, but the way they go about their business, the way they work, the way they care, they want to do well. And you heard me say that even after some difficult times.
And Stoops talked today about how he expects quarterback Steven Johnson to respond, and he updated the situation with Drew Barker and his bad back. I'll have much more on that coming up in the next half hour.
Thanks, Rob. And kickoff for Kentucky and Mississippi State will be 7:30 Saturday night on the SEC Network.
It's been 10 years in the making now. The new YMCA in Hamburg is just days away from opening. We'll take a behind-the-scenes tour in 11 minutes on WKYT News at 5.
It's a disturbing trend. 1 in 3 teens face some kind of dating violence, and a new form of abuse is gaining steam. That story's later in Better Living.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Summertime in Kentucky. Wait, what? It's October? Yeah, it is October by the calendar. Mother Nature has a different idea, though, out there with a lot of summertime air. Low 80s into most of central and eastern Kentucky right now. 9 live sky cams showing that with the warm temperatures, we're getting in on a good-looking sky. Check out that Jackson cam. Notice all the fall colors that are taking off here, taking off in the weather garden. Gusty winds from the southwest, 25 miles an hour, blowing some of those leaves around. So a little yard work is going to be taking place over the next few weeks with the leaves. Get the rakes ready. Low 80s, most of central and eastern Kentucky. Southeastern Kentucky, some of us not getting out of the upper 70s this afternoon. That's still way above where you should be. Defender radar network, nothing across Kentucky. High pressure to our east, low pressure to the west. Cue the southwesterly winds. And again, tomorrow, we're likely back into the low and mid 80s with a partly sunny sky. Though I'm now looking at 2 computer models that second half of tomorrow say there's a small chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm to go up. I'll show you that in just a second. Cold front that is on the move out across the plain states will try to get a little broken band of some thunderstorms out ahead of that across the Ohio River. Second half of tomorrow, better chance on Wednesday. But then that front on Thursday and low pressure right on top of the Ohio Valley. Means our best chance of rain we've had in a long time. Means some thunder, some lightning, some gusty winds, and then boom, here we go with the colder air coming on into play. Now, it's nothing that is just terribly atypical for this time of year, but it's going to be a big shock to the system coming up Friday into Saturday compared to where we are today and where we're going to be tomorrow and even into part of the day on Wednesday. So that colder air wraps up behind that departing low. Can somebody see an inch of rain this week? Well, this computer model may be a little overzealous with 1 to 2 inches, but I think some local 1-inch amounts a good possibility. But you want to talk a temperature slide? Let's follow it. 80s on Wednesday. Thursday, here comes the front. 70s, 60 Owensboro. Front arrives in Thursday evening. Watch the numbers drop on Friday. Friday morning, some of us may wake up to temperatures that are warmer than what we see at noon. Upper 40s to around 50 at noon on Friday. 50 to 55 for a high Friday afternoon. High school football, temperatures dropping into the 40s. Cue the 30s on Saturday morning. Mid-50s on Saturday afternoon and heading out to Commonwealth Stadium on Saturday evening. Those temperatures are going to be generally into the 40s. That 3-day threat track, again, will increase the threat for showers and thunderstorms late Wednesday and Thursday. And there you go, that temperature drop into the 50s for a couple of days with lows that may reach the mid and upper 30s by Saturday morning.
We're all over the place.
There we are.
Thank you.
A couple of things happening, including a collision at Georgetown and Ironworks. That is a non-injury. They're in the process of clearing that one. Also at an Armstrong Mill at River Park Drive. No one's hurt in that wreck either. Holding her own on the interstate, no major issues on the north side of Lexington. Now back to you in the studio.
Whiskey workers are still picketing at the world's biggest bourbon producer.
Find out what the Jim Beam workers want in about 4 minutes on WKYT News at 5. Workers at 2 Jim Beam facilities in Kentucky remain on strike. The workers say they're being overworked. A union leader says contract talks will resume tomorrow. The workers say that the company needs to hire more people. About 250 workers at Beam distilleries in Claremont and Boston walked off from their jobs on Saturday. The company had no comments. There's nothing like it in Lexington. The new state-of-the-art YMCA in Hamburg is about to open.
Pretty amazing. As WKYT's Mike Linden reports, you can get a sneak peek of the building anytime you want.
After breaking ground 1 year ago, the Whitaker Family YMCA at Hamburg Place is almost ready to open. The 62,000 square foot YMCA on Old Rosebud Road is set to open in just 2 weeks. YMCA officials say more than 1,400 people have already signed up for memberships.
Knowing that many individuals have signed up before they even walk through the front doors or you can even see the amenities in the programs, it speaks volumes to the need and what the YMCA represents for our community.
The Whitaker Family YMCA features a state-of-the-art wellness center, a lap pool, a full-size gymnasium, and even a Pilates studio.
A lot of people have worked very hard to make this a reality, and I'm just thrilled to be one of them that got to have the chance to participate.
With the project in development for nearly 10 years, YMCA officials say the Hamburg area is long overdue for a community hub.
In terms of amenities and services, there isn't necessarily that community hub on this side of town, and the YMCA and all communities play that role as a community hub.
If you'd like to get a look inside the YMCA for yourself, walk-in tours are welcome 7 days a week, right up until the opening on the 31st. In Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
Whitaker Bank is also sponsoring an endowment scholarship to provide memberships to people with financial limitations. A farmer looking for loose cattle makes a disturbing discovery in southern Kentucky. The latest on the death investigation ahead on WKYT News at 5:30.
Expect to pay more at the grocery store for orange juice and why you won't be able to get a clown mask this year at Target. It's all next in Better Living. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. 1 in 3 teens report experiencing some kind of abuse in their romantic relationships. That includes verbal, emotional, and physical abuse. And there's a newer type called technological abuse. But many parents don't know to warn their teenagers about it. Marley Hall has the story.
India Ortega started dating in high school. At 14 years old, she was excited to be in what she called a real relationship.
He was an upperclassman. He played sports.
It didn't take long for the butterflies to fade.
We would argue a lot. He would raise his voice at me.
When she tried to break up with him, he posted nude pictures of her on social media.
I couldn't do anything but cry.
How did you deal with that?
I had to go to therapy because I started going through depression and anxiety.
It's a growing type of relationship abuse among teens known as technological abuse. Stephanie Nilva of teen violence prevention organization Day One says half the people ages 14 to 24 have experienced it.
Young people are now subject to stalking behaviors, sexual harassment, invasions of privacy, disclosures of private pictures, constant texting. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing?
India's mother didn't know what was going on for more than a year. She helped her daughter end the relationship and pursue legal action.
Have an open relationship. Talk to your children. If you feel that something is going on, keep questioning it.
I'm excited to meet new people.
Now 18, India is older, wiser, and off to college.
I have my days where I still have anxiety, but other than that, I have to reassure myself, like, all of that is done. You're about to move on to bigger and better things.
And she's sharing her story with younger teens to try to keep them out of harm's way. Marley Hall, CBS News, New York.
As many as 60% of young people who are in an abusive relationship don't tell anyone about the abuse, and as few as 3% report it to an authority. Expect to pay more for orange juice. Florida is dealing with the worst orange harvest in a century. Hurricanes and disease have devastated the crop. The Department of Agriculture predicts this year's harvest will produce 14% fewer oranges than last year. And scared right off the shelves with all those creepy clown sightings around the country, Target is pulling clown masks from their stores and the company's website. Now, here's what's coming up for you today at 5:30.